enlargement is often referred to as the EU's most effective foreign policy. But since its biggest wave of new members joined in 2004, the process has largely stalled. At Davos, I sat down with the Prime Ministers of Croatia and Montenegro, also the Foreign Minister of Ukraine and the EU's Enlargement Commissioner, to discuss and debate how the EU can revitalize its enlargement process. Commissioner, I want to ask you the question. First, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has injected a renewed sense of urgency when it comes to the EU accession talks, and EU leaders are more frequently meeting with 7 countries that are still waiting at the gate. Some candidates' accession bids have been stalled for well over a decade, despite the process and requirements for EU membership remaining the same. What has changed in the EU that is making accession so difficult as you're starting to take care of this portfolio now?
After 10 countries joined in 2004 and later Bulgaria, Romania and Croatia, the last in 2013, the economic and geopolitics have changed. And at that time it was seen that it is getting more important to go inside or to take care about the deepening of the European Union in the sense of will be able to answer to those challenges which emerged at that time. This is one point. The second point is also the question of the rule of law. We have some countries inside the European Union who are not following the rule of law, and with the many member states we have seen somehow fear that this could harm the European Union, in the sense of we shouldn't let in no country who is really not 100% prepared to enter, not only on the economic part. We have been talking, in my opinion, much too much about the economic part of the enlargement process, less about the values and less about the rules of law.
Prime Minister, when Croatia joined the EU in 2013 as the 28th member state, it became the second nation to do it on its own after Greece, which was 1981. So that was a very specific case for your country. And there was this kind of enlargement fatigue, largely a result of a slow integration process for new members, which meant also there were kind of more demands and requirements of Croatia when you joined the European Union. How has this heightened level of scrutiny impacted the country now that you have joined also the Schengen area and the Eurozone?
Well, Croatia joined, as you rightly put it, on the 1st of July 2013, almost 10 years after the big enlargement. What was good for us, we joined when we were prepared. We, especially in my first government, decided to go into the deeper integration we managed, which is the Eurozone, the Schengen area, the European Stability Mechanism, and the benefits are there. When we started 9 years ago, my first government, we were at 62% of the average development of the European Union. Now we are at 78. By the time we end the third government, we'll be at 82. That means that the economic impact and the developmental impact, infrastructural, including also values, the rule of law and everything that goes with it, were highly appreciated by the Croatian citizens and the society. And the country looks very different now, I would say, much better.
Somehow Montenegro can be considered as the furthest along in the accession process. How did you feel this change, as Prime Minister said, you know, when the arms were first of all open, but it's a bit different now for Montenegro, for Ukraine? But also, what areas of progress or closer cooperation with the EU remain? You've just had the Commissioner visiting Montenegro as well, just a couple of days ago, right, before we're meeting here at Davos.
First of all, I don't think that EU accession process is actually competition. You know, like we are all trying to fulfill the basic conditions that EU is requiring for our own good. You know, it's not because of the EU that we are doing all of these requirements, it's for ourselves to develop better, to be better market economies, to have rule of law, to have more fair society, to have more democratic institutions. So this is what we are trying to build. We're trying to build a system. It's especially difficult if you are a country like Montenegro. You know, in ex-Yugoslavia, some of you might know that Montenegro was like a smallest republic, and very few, if any, institutions were based out of Podgorica. Most of them are based out of Belgrade, some of them were based out of Zagreb, a bit maybe in Ljubljana, but You know, Podgorica literally nothing. So can you imagine 2006, we had to build basically institutions almost from municipal level. Almost from municipal level. So this was like a big step forward for us in the last 18 years. So we are like, by Montenegrin law, we are adults now. So we are hoping that we get adult treatment as well.
Minister, Ukraine is also on its way to the European Union, and you've heard some of notions here. Now, your accession negotiations officially opened on the 25th of June 2024. Considering that the process is generally considered to be slow and meticulous, what can we realistically expect in terms of some sort of accelerated Ukrainian candidacy? Why I say that is not about fast-tracking it one-way street. It's about Ukraine trying to, every time to produce, to get their progress quicker and quicker.
Thanks a lot for your question. In Ukraine, more than 90% of our people support Ukrainian EU membership. By the way, that's another part of Russian brutal aggression. Before the full-scale aggression, a little bit more than 50% of our population supported EU accession. On the fourth day of this brutal aggression, we applied to EU to become a member of EU. In a half a year, we got the status of candidate. It means that we need such a speed now because of geopolitical reality. And it was also our response to this brutality, to these Russian atrocities, to protect our values. It was our strategic choice. And I would like to remind that EU, when it was founded after the war, it was not only about trade, it was also about to defeat war. To defeat thinking of war, or this war politics, to defeat the Putins of that time, to defeat fascism, Nazism. And regretfully, these diseases returned back to Europe. And now we need to defeat this Russian aggression. We must achieve long-lasting, just, comprehensive peace, because security of Europe and security of Ukraine is indivisible. And it is not a favor for us on our way to become an EU member, because we will contribute in the strength of EU. We will contribute in the competitive advantages of EU with our, for example, defense industries, with our technologies, with our security experience. And probably it will be the best investment for EU. If we are speaking about costs, we have such an evaluations. The cost will be approximately 0.17 of the EU GDP, if we are speaking about the enlargement of 9 countries.
Right. These points that we've just heard from the 2 candidate countries regarding how they have to overcome the obstacles within the EU of some of the member states who are less willing on continuing the enlargement, but do these existing countries then share the same values that are actually demanded of the candidates?
First of all, we have to bear in mind that every enlargement process is a politically driven process. But what I would like to note, that everybody is realistic, because sense of realism is the most important notion in the process of enlargement, is that the forgotten Copenhagen, the 4th Copenhagen criteria of 1993, which is so-called the absorption capacity of the European Union, has come back. And the absorption capacity, translated into a common language, means what is the budgetary cost of enlargement, what will be the effect of new members on the play of contributor countries and beneficiary countries, what will be the impact on the policies, cohesion, agriculture, any policy that you can imagine.
I'm sure that you've heard lots of criticism regarding whether things are being fast-tracked when it comes to Ukraine compared to some of the other countries that have been waiting for longer and then applying longer and so on. What's your take on that? Because this is an important issue to address.
We love it. You know, we want to be even faster. We don't mind at all. Like for us, it's totally okay. It's just obviously don't forget us as well. I mean, in the meantime, but you know, progression of Ukraine is extremely welcome, and we as I already said, we feel Ukraine is part of the wider region, and we feel we have common destiny, and we want to see Ukraine progress as fast as possible. But I would say that we should still keep some level of meritocracy and as in like meritocratic approach. So I think Montenegro has done a lot, and we will do even more. So our plan is extremely ambitious. We want in 2 years, i.e. by end of 26, to fully close all the chapters to be fully ready for EU. So we are hoping the EU can see that, can recognize the efforts, can recognize the spirit that we are projecting, and that they will accept us, and they will, by hopefully by end of 26 we close all the chapters, but in 28 we become a 28th member state.
The race is the race.
But I think this is healthy, you know, because it is based on the merit-based principle, meaning, you know, it's not about timing. You know, sometimes I hear, but you know, the Western Balkan states, they wait for so long. Yeah. It is not about how long they are waiting, it is how much they are able to deliver, and about their political will, and this has changed. So if they do what they have to do, you know, we say negotiations, mainly it is take it or leave it. Sorry that I say it so bluntly. So you have no possibility to now negotiate on some important basic value in the EU.
Well, that's all we have time for. Unfortunately, thank you so much. There is a lot of food for thought, lots of work for everybody, for the Commission, for the Member States, for the candidates. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.